Throughout history, ambitious nations have sought to expand their influence through territorial acquisitions, often driven by strategic, economic, and political motivations. From the Roman Empire's conquests to European colonial expansion and America's own purchases of Louisiana and Alaska, acquiring new lands has been a common tool for shaping global power. In 2019, then-President Donald Trump proposed something that, at first glance, seemed bizarre: purchasing Greenland from Denmark. The media and political commentators immediately mocked the idea. Memes flooded the internet, late-night talk show hosts ridiculed it, and Denmark swiftly dismissed the notion as absurd. Trump's reaction was characteristically defiant. He canceled a scheduled visit to Denmark in response to the rejection. Yet beneath the surface of what appeared to be another example of Trump's unconventional leadership style, there were deeper, more calculated reasons behind his proposal. Greenland is not just a remote, ice-covered island. It is a land of immense strategic importance, abundant natural resources, and growing geopolitical value. The Arctic, once a frozen and mostly inaccessible region, is rapidly changing due to climate shifts, opening up new opportunities for trade, resource extraction, and military positioning. Trump's interest in Greenland was likely not just a spontaneous idea but a reflection of larger geopolitical realities that will continue to shape the future. But why Greenland? What made Trump believe the U.S. should acquire it? And if the idea wasn't as crazy as it seemed, could another American president attempt something similar in the future? Greenland is the world's largest island, covering over 2.1 million square kilometers, roughly one-fourth the size of the United States. Though it is politically tied to Denmark, Greenland operates with a high degree of autonomy, managing its own government and policies while Denmark retains control over foreign affairs and defense. With a population of just 56,000 people, mostly indigenous Inuit communities, Greenland's vast and mostly uninhabited landscape is one of the most remote places on Earth. Despite its icy terrain, Greenland has historically been a focal point of strategic interest. During World War II, when Nazi Germany occupied Denmark, the United States effectively took over the defense of Greenland, establishing military bases to prevent Axis forces from gaining a foothold. One of these bases, Thule Air Base, remains operational today and serves as a critical component of America's missile defense system, monitoring potential threats from Russia, China, and other adversaries. This long-standing military presence in Greenland underscores its strategic value. Situated between North America and Europe, Greenland provides a crucial location for early warning systems, air defense, and naval operations in the Arctic. Given the growing competition between global superpowers in the region, Trump's attempt to acquire Greenland can be seen as part of a larger geopolitical struggle for dominance in the Arctic. One of the primary reasons Trump wanted Greenland was its military significance. The Arctic is becoming an increasingly contested space, with nations like Russia and China seeking to expand their presence. Russia has been particularly aggressive in the region, constructing new military bases, deploying advanced weaponry, and reopening Soviet-era installations. Meanwhile, China has declared itself a near-Arctic power and has invested heavily in infrastructure projects in Arctic nations, including Greenland. By acquiring Greenland, the U.S. could have significantly strengthened its military positioning. Thule Air Base already serves as a critical component of the U.S. missile defense network, monitoring threats from intercontinental ballistic missiles, ICBMs. With tensions rising between the U.S., Russia, and China, securing Greenland would have given Washington greater control over Arctic airspace and sea routes, ensuring that adversaries could not expand their influence unchecked. Beyond missile defense, Greenland's location makes it an ideal hub for Arctic naval operations. As ice melts due to climate change, new shipping routes are emerging, including the Northwest Passage, which could eventually rival traditional global trade routes such as the Panama Canal. Controlling Greenland would have allowed the U.S. to shape the development of Arctic shipping lanes, ensuring its dominance in future maritime trade. While military strategy was a major factor, Greenland's economic potential was another key reason behind Trump's interest. Beneath its frozen surface, Greenland is home to vast deposits of natural resources including oil and natural gas. The Arctic is estimated to contain 13% of the world's undiscovered oil reserves and 30% of its untapped natural gas. Greenland's coastal waters could hold massive petroleum deposits, similar to Alaska's North Slope. Rare earth minerals. These minerals are essential for modern technology, including smartphones, electric vehicles, military equipment, and renewable energy infrastructure. China currently controls over 85% of the world's rare earth production, and securing Greenland's resources would have allowed the US to reduce its dependence on Chinese supply chains. Uranium, essential for nuclear energy and defense applications, Greenland's uranium reserves could have provided the US with an additional domestic source of this critical material. With global demand for these resources increasing, Trump likely saw Greenland as a long-term investment. If the US controlled the island, it could have leveraged its resources to boost economic growth, strengthen its supply chains, and reduce reliance on foreign powers. Climate change is accelerating the transformation of the Arctic. Ice that once made much of the region inaccessible is now melting, revealing new opportunities for resource extraction, infrastructure development, and trade. For years, Arctic nations have competed to stake claims in the region. Russia has deployed icebreakers to carve new shipping routes. China has pursued Arctic investments. European nations have conducted scientific and military expeditions. The United States, by comparison, has lagged behind in asserting its influence. Trump's proposal to buy Greenland can be seen as an attempt to secure a dominant position in the Arctic's future. With climate change making the region more accessible, Greenland's value is only expected to rise. By acquiring the island, the U.S. could have ensured its presence in Arctic affairs for generations to come. Despite Trump's enthusiasm, Denmark and Greenland swiftly rejected the idea of selling the island. Danish Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen dismissed the proposal as absurd, emphasizing that Greenland was not for sale. Greenland's government, which has been moving toward greater independence from Denmark, also made it clear that it had no intention of becoming a U.S. territory. Trump, never one to take rejection lightly, responded by canceling a planned state visit to Denmark. The incident was widely ridiculed, but it highlighted an important reality: the U.S. is not the only power interested in Greenland. Though an outright purchase of Greenland seems unlikely, America's interest in the island has not faded. In 2020, the U.S. reopened its consulate in Greenland's capital, Nuuk, for the first time in decades. Washington has also increased financial aid and investment in Greenland, signaling an ongoing effort to strengthen ties and influence Greenland's future. At first glance, the idea of buying Greenland seemed ridiculous, but when examined through the lens of history, geopolitics, and economics, it becomes clear that Trump's proposal was not as far-fetched as it seemed. Greenland is one of the most strategically and economically valuable territories in the world, and as global power struggles intensify, its importance will only continue to grow. While Denmark's refusal shut down Trump's ambitions, the question remains: will the U.S. continue to pursue control over Greenland in the future? If history has taught us anything, it's that powerful nations do not simply abandon valuable opportunities. Whether through economic partnerships, military agreements, or diplomatic negotiations, the U.S. is likely to remain deeply interested in Greenland for years to come. So, was Trump's proposal truly absurd? Or was he simply ahead of his time, recognizing Greenland's value before the rest of the world caught on? Let us know what you think in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more in-depth analysis on global events.